Have you ever wondered why some men seem to have a kind of invisible power over women? They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't try too hard. Yet somehow, women remember them, respect them, and even chase them. What if I told you that power isn't luck, it's psychology? And even more interesting, that this power was mastered centuries ago by two of history's greatest minds, Niccolò Machiavelli and Marcus Aurelius. Before we begin, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and watch this video till the end. Because what you're about to learn will completely change how you understand attraction, respect, and control in relationships. 1. Master the art of emotional detachment. Have you ever cared so much for someone that it consumed you? You waited for her message, replayed your last conversation in your head, and wondered what she was thinking. Every single minute felt like a lifetime. You told yourself you were just being loyal, but deep down, you knew you were losing yourself. That's the trap most men fall into: emotional dependency. Machiavelli would call it your weakness, while Marcus Aurelius would call it your lack of mastery over the self. You see, when a man becomes emotionally reactive, he gives away his power. A woman senses it instantly. The overthinking, the insecurity, the need for validation. And the more you chase emotional reassurance, the less attractive you become. Now imagine this. Instead of reacting to silence, you stay grounded. Instead of begging for attention, you focus on your peace. That's emotional detachment, not coldness but control. It's about being calm when she tests you, silent when she provokes you, and patient when emotions try to pull you back in. Because women never forget the man who feels deeply but never loses himself. That balance, love with discipline, emotion with control, that's the mark of a truly powerful man. Remember this: the moment you stop trying to control how she feels and start mastering how you respond, the power shifts. She begins to wonder why she can't shake the thought of you, why your calm feels heavier than her chaos. And that's when you've already won, not by force, but by self-control.
2. Cultivate calm authority, not domination. Have you ever noticed how some men try too hard to be in control? Raising their voice, showing off, trying to prove they're the man? And yet, those are the ones women quietly lose respect for. Why? Because control that's forced is fragile, but authority that's calm is magnetic. Think about it. When you were with her, did you ever feel the need to over-explain yourself? To prove your worth? To convince her you're not like the others? That came from fear, not power. And fear always leaks through your words. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved." If you cannot be both. But Stoicism teaches us that true power doesn't require either. It earns respect through composure. A calm man doesn't dominate. He directs. He doesn't shout to be heard. His silence speaks for him. When you walk into a room, when you respond instead of react, when your tone stays steady no matter what she throws your way, she feels that authority. She trusts it. Because a woman feels safest around a man who's emotionally unshaken. Ask yourself, when was the last time you stayed calm in chaos? When you didn't try to control the situation, but instead controlled yourself. That's where true masculine energy begins. Not in raising your hand or your voice, but in mastering your energy. Because women never forget the man who made them feel safe without making them feel small. Calm authority isn't about power over her, it's about power within yourself. That's the difference between boys who demand attention and men who command respect.
3. Listen to understand, not to reply. Have you ever been in a conversation where you were just waiting for your turn to speak? Be honest. Maybe it was with someone you loved. She was upset, emotional, trying to express something, and you were already crafting your defense in your head. You weren't really listening. You were reacting. That's what most men do. They hear words, but they don't listen to the emotion behind them. And women, they feel that instantly. Because women remember how you made them feel heard, not how you made your point. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does." Finally, the fool listens, only to respond, to protect his ego. The wise man listens to understand, and in doing so, he gains quiet influence. Stoicism teaches this too. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself," meaning, drop your need to win arguments and start observing what's truly being said. Between the lines, in the pauses, in the tone. Think about it. When was the last time you made her feel fully understood? When you didn't interrupt, didn't defend, didn't explain, you just listened. You didn't rush to fix her. You just gave her space to speak her truth. That's rare and powerful, because when you listen deeply, you do something that very few men know how to do. You connect without control. You make her feel seen without losing yourself. And that emotional understanding builds silent respect. Every woman remembers the man who truly listened. Not the one who shouted louder, not the one who won every debate, but the one who created peace through presence. That's how you earn trust that no words could ever buy. 4. Set boundaries like a gentleman. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you started bending your own rules just to keep them close? You forgave things you once swore you'd never tolerate. You stayed silent when you should have spoken up, all because you were afraid of losing them. Every man has been there, that slow erosion of self-respect in the name of love. But here's the truth. The moment you start compromising your boundaries, you stop being respected. Machiavelli once said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command," but a Stoic twist to that would be, "He who wishes to be respected must first respect himself." Setting boundaries isn't about domination. It's about self-respect. It's not about control. It's about clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." When you calmly enforce your boundaries, without shouting, without ego, you're showing her exactly what a grounded man looks like. You're not trying to prove power. You are power, because you know where your limits lie. So next time she tests your patience, ignores your values, or crosses a line, don't react with anger. Simply withdraw your energy. Speak less. Stand firm. Show her through your composure that your self-worth isn't negotiable. You see, women don't truly want a man who gives them everything. They want a man who stands for something. A man who doesn't beg to be chosen but chooses himself first. Because deep down, every woman remembers the man who had the courage to say no. And not out of pride, but out of principle. That's the kind of strength that leaves a lasting mark. Calm, firm and unforgettable. 5. Be unpredictably consistent. Have you ever noticed how, in the beginning of a relationship, she was drawn to your mystery, but over time you became predictable? She knew when you'd text, how you'd react, even what you'd say next. And slowly, that spark, that magnetic tension, started to fade. It happens to almost every man. You start strong, confident, in control of your emotions. But once you get comfortable, you begin to operate on her rhythm instead of your own. You become routine, safe, maybe even boring. And that's when attraction begins to die, quietly. Here's what Machiavelli and Marcus Aurelius would both agree on. Predictability without depth kills power. But strategic consistency creates trust, while controlled unpredictability keeps desire alive. You must be like the ocean, calm on the surface, yet impossible to fully predict. Being unpredictably consistent means she can always trust your values, your respect, your integrity, your word, but she can never fully predict your moves. You text when you want to, not when you're expected to. You show up strong, but you also disappear to focus on your purpose. You're emotionally available, but not constantly accessible. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the rock against which the waves crash. It stands firm." That's consistency. But the waves? That's unpredictability. A rhythm of presence and distance that keeps the connection alive. Women never forget the man who could make them feel secure and excited at the same time. The man who didn't beg for attention, but naturally commanded it through his rhythm. So stay consistent in your integrity, but unpredictable in your presence. Because mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about showing that your world doesn't revolve around her. And that's exactly what makes her crave to be part of it. 6. Work on your life, not your image. When you're alone, when no one's watching, Who are you really? Are you building yourself or just building a version of yourself for the world to see? Most men today are obsessed with their image. The perfect photo, the confident quote, the alpha persona online. But deep down, many of them are hollow, chasing validation instead of purpose. And here's the thing, women feel that emptiness. They might be fooled for a while by your charm, your looks, your confidence. But eventually they sense what's real and what's just performance. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men who honor titles." And Marcus Aurelius echoed the same wisdom centuries later. Waste no more time on what others think of you. Be content to live the rest of your life as a man of truth. When you focus on your life instead of your image, everything changes. You stop chasing likes and start chasing mastery. You stop performing and start becoming. You build habits, not highlights. You invest in your mind, your health, your craft, quietly, consistently, even when no one is applauding. And that quiet effort, it radiates. It gives off an energy that can't be faked. Because when a man is genuinely growing, he doesn't need to prove anything. His presence speaks louder than his words. Think about it. What's more attractive, a man who talks about his potential or one who is too busy becoming it? Women never forget the man who was focused, grounded, and purpose-driven, because his strength wasn't borrowed from attention. It was built from discipline. So stop trying to look like a man of value. Be one. When your actions reflect inner growth, you don't need filters. Your reality becomes your reputation. 7. Respond, don't react. Grace under pressure. How do you act when you're hurt? When she says something sharp, ignores your message, or tests your patience, do you stay calm? Or do you let your emotions take control? Be honest. Every man has had that moment. You feel anger, confusion, maybe even panic. You want to text her, call her, demand answers. You want to prove your worth in that very moment. But here's the thing, that's not strength. That's emotional surrender. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the Stoic secret. Power is never about control over others. It's about control over yourself. Machiavelli would agree, emotion clouds judgment. The man who can remain calm when others are emotional gains quiet power. Because when you react, you hand her control. But when you respond, you show emotional intelligence, the rarest and most attractive form of masculinity. Imagine this. She tests you, disrespects you, maybe even pulls away. Most men chase, argue, or lash out. But you stay composed. You give it space. You respond with calm logic or sometimes with silence. And that silence, it echoes louder than any argument. Because grace under pressure isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's the ability to hold your peace even when your ego is screaming for attention. Women never forget a man who can face emotional storms without losing his center. A man who doesn't fight for validation but maintains his dignity in every storm. That kind of composure lingers in her memory, long after words fade. So remember, reacting gives her control, but responding shows your strength. Calmness is your secret weapon, and it's the mark of a man who's truly mastered himself. 8. Display competence through action, not words. You know what's rare today? Men who don't talk about what they're doing, they just do it. Every insecure man says, "I'm working on myself." Every confident man shows it. Machiavelli said, "Men judge by results." Marcus Aurelius echoed it. The fruit of your life depends upon your actions. Stop telling women about your goals. Let your discipline do the talking. Hit the gym, learn new skills, build your career, master your emotions. When she sees that you're walking your words, she'll never see you the same again. Because competence is the ultimate aphrodisiac. It shows control, direction, and maturity. Remember, real men don't prove, they perform. 9. Create space, don't suffocate presence. Every relationship needs two things, connection and space. Without space, there's no attraction, only suffocation. You've probably made this mistake before. Texting constantly, checking in too much, always being available. It feels like care, but it kills desire. Machiavelli mastered timing. He knew when to act and when to wait. Marcus Aurelius mastered detachment. He knew that love can't grow in obsession. Choose her. You've probably made this mistake before. Texting constantly, checking in too much, always being available. It feels like care, but it kills desire. Machiavelli mastered timing. He knew when to act and when to wait. Marcus Aurelius mastered detachment. He knew that love can't grow in obsession. When you give space, you allow longing to breathe. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you're becoming, what you're thinking. Your silence becomes magnetic. Women never forget the man who could be close without being clingy. Because space shows strength. It shows that you don't need her. You choose her. 10 lead with purpose, not ego. Finally, the most powerful move of all. Purpose. A man who leads with ego wants control. A man who leads with purpose inspires loyalty. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But Marcus Aurelius offered balance. Waste no more time on what others do. Do what nature demands of you. When you live with purpose, your mission, your growth, your legacy, you stop needing validation. You no longer chase women because your direction already pulls them in. The woman who once doubted you will one day look back and realize you didn't lose her, you outgrew her. That's real control. Not domination, not manipulation, but mastery. Because in the end, control over women begins with control over yourself. And that's the Stoic truth that Machiavelli understood long before. Psychology had a name for it. The man who conquers himself, controls everything around him. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,